We are going to convert from percents to fractions and fractions to percents back. So let us start with this session of understanding percentages and fractions easily. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what a percentage means. Percent, as you can see here, there's a word called percent. Percent always means for each. Per means for each. And cent is a Latin root word for hundred. Cent is 100. It's always out of 100 for each 100. If you understand this, you can easily solve percentages. So percent, that's out of 100, or for each 100 how much part we are taking. That's percent. Okay, so suppose, for example, if I have 60% of students pass, 60% of students passed the exam, so how many failed? So we always take out of 100. That means 40% failed. 100 minus 60 will give you 40. 40% failed. So percentage is always out of 100. That we have to understand. For example, if A got 75% votes, if A got 75% votes, so how much votes did B get? So we always take out of 100%, means it's out of 100. So that means you need to remove 75 from 100. 100 minus 75, that gives you 25%. So how many votes did B get? 25% votes. That's how we calculate percentages. Always we have to remember that it is from 100, for each 100, out of 100. That's it. Okay, for example, now if there's an increase in salary of 20%, so what is his current salary now? So for example, I have, always we take from 100%. That means if there is an increase of 20% of salary, so we add 20% of that salary, so we get 120% is his current salary after the increase. That's how we do increase in percentage. Now if there is a decrease in percentage, for example, if there is a discount on an item of 30%, so what do? We take from 100% and then decrease it from 100%, that is 30% discount of 30%, and it is decreased from 100% always, so that's 70%. So this is how what percent means. It's always calculated from 100, out of 100. If 60% pass, 40 fail, like this, always it is taken out of 100. For example, now we are going to write it like this, like for suppose a percent. This is the symbol of percent. You have a slant line and you have two dots. So this percent symbol can be converted to, this is a symbol. Now I'm removing the symbol and you can write it as per, this is a bar, fraction bar, out of 100. This percent, the word percent is converted to percent, out of 100. This is what is happening with a percent symbol. So wherever you find a percent symbol, you can just write it like this, that it means A out of 100, A per 100. That's it. So this is the numerator, the top number. The denominator is the bottom number, is always 100 whenever you're talking about percents. This is a fraction. This is a fraction, and this is percent. So this is how you convert a percent to fraction, or fraction to percent. So now let's do some examples. For example, you have A over B. Now you're converting fractions to percents first. So A to B, if you're converting a fraction to a percent, you always multiply by 100. Because we are talking about percents, we are talking about hundreds every time. So A over B, that means whenever you're converting a fraction to a percent, you multiply by 100. So let's see. If you have a 1 by 1, this is a fraction. So what are we going to do? We're going to write the fraction 1 over 1 multiplied by 100. So 1 times 100 is, this is 100%. Okay, so let's take another example, 1 by 2. When you have 1 by 2, let's multiply 1 by 2 with 100, and this goes 50 times. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 50 is 100, so you got 50%. Always remember, you're not multiplying by 100, you're multiplying by 100%. You're multiplying by 100%. Okay, so let's see another example. That's 1 by 3. Okay, so 1 by 3 times 100. So this is 100 over 100%. 100 over 3%. So how do we write 100 over 3%? So I'm going to show you this one thing beside. So what are we going to do here is 100 is getting divided by 3. So what do we do? How many times it goes? 3 times. So you get a 9, you subtract, you get a 1, and then you take down 0, and then again 3 times it gives you 9, subtract it, and you have a remainder of 1. And so it is 33, 1 over 3. This is your quotient, this is your remainder, and this is your divisor. So how do we write 100 over 3%? 100 over 3% is written as, you have the rule called QRD. We write it like this. Quotient is always a whole number. A combination of a whole number and a fraction gives you a mixed number. So quotient is 33. That means you have a 33, and remainder is 1. Yes, and divisor is 3. So you have 33, 1 over 3%. That means 1/3 is 33, 1 over 3%. Okay. Let's see another example. Suppose you have 1 over 6. Okay. So if you have 1 over 6, for 1 over 6, again we multiply with 100%. And what do you get? That's 100 over 6. Or you can just take down, that's 2 times 3 is 6, and this is 50. So you have 50 over 3%. 50 over 3%, and that's equal to how many times it goes in 50? 3 times 1 is 3, and you have 2 here. So 3 6 is 18, and you have a remainder of 2. That means you have a 16, remainder of 2, and the denominator is same. So it is 16 2/3%. Done. Okay, let's see another one. Another example, like 1/7. So it is 1/7 times 100%, and does it go? It will be 100%, 100 over 7%. Now if we are going to divide, how many times it goes in 7 times table? So 7 times 1 is 7, 7 ones are 7, 8 9 10, you're left with 3, so you have a 3. So 7 4s is 28, so you have 28, 29, 30, 2 is the remainder, so you have 14, 2 is the remainder, and what is your denominator? That's 7, so you take down 7. That's 14 to 7%. Okay. Let's see now, how do you convert a percent to a fraction? So we are going to write it here. Okay, so here we are going to do, how do you convert a percentage to a fraction? So you always, whenever you're converting a percent to a fraction, you divide by 100. From fraction to percentage, you multiply by 100. Whenever you're converting a percent to a fraction, you divide by 100. So let's see what we have. For example, you have 10%. So this percent symbol will get converted to out of 100. 10% changes to out of 100, and that gets cancelled. So it is 1 over 10. Done. Okay, let's see another example. For example, 25%. When you have 25%, this percent symbol will change to 25 per 100 out of 100. 25 out of 100. And 25, how many 25s make 100? 425. So that means it is 1/4. Done. Okay, let's see another example. For example, if you have 12.5%, how are we going to do that? So always divide by 100. That means percent itself means out of 100. Out of 100, divide by 100. So we are going to write the number as it is, that is 12.5 per 100. So percent symbol is going to change to per 100. And how do we remove the decimal? You check how many digits are there after the decimal. There's one digit, so you're going to write the number 125. After decimal there was one digit, so you're going to add 10 to the denominator. Okay, so you got 125 over 1000, and that goes how many times? In 5 times table you get 5 over 40, and that's 1 over 8, and you've done. You got a fraction, 1 over 8. Okay, let's see another example. Okay, so if you have okay, suppose if you have 3.75%, 3.75% can be written as 3.75 per 100 out of 100. And if you want to remove the decimal, you have to check how many digits are there after the decimal. There are 2 digits, so you're going to write the number back, 375 out of 100. And how many digits were there after the decimal? You're going to add that many zeros, 2 digits, so 2 zeros. And now when you're going to solve for that, 375 over 10,000, you're going to get 3 over 80. And that's your fraction. Okay, let's see one more last example. For example, you have 122.22%. Now what we were doing is we were converting some numbers which looked like 3.75%, and they were non-repeating decimal numbers. Now here what did we get? We got a repeating decimal numbers that says 222 is getting repeated. So we don't use this method whenever it comes to repeated decimal numbers. When there's repetition of numbers, so we use some other method, and I'm going to show you that in my next session. So if at all you liked this, okay, if you know, you can find out and write the answers in the comments, and join me in my next session if you want to discuss any more percents, and we are going to level up in percents and fractions. So I'm going to come up with percents and fractions, more of such questions in my next live session. Thank you so much guys. Bye bye, take care.